Hello, Professor Hyatt here, and this is the cover of the syllabus. Um, the first thing I should state is hello. Um, let's do the formal introduction part now. I know I started off with the Canvas thing, but the reason why I did that was because that video and this one too will be made available to my students in the other classes, but um, they're going to get live in person syllabus things. So I think they're going to be less likely to watch this. And they already heard me in my intro. So if you're one of those students who are from a different class, go fast forward to where you see the shared screen to get the syllabus. As for everyone else, you do need to sit and if you haven't heard who I am, I need to formally introduce myself. I'm a professor of communication studies and political science. You can actually see the degrees that are responsible for that up on my wall over there. That's why I'm using this angle for this video. And look how important I think those degrees are. I have them right above some Lego. Um, so real important stuff there. I literally actually have them in like dollar something frames. The nicer frame is actually for something else. So let me go over who I am and so forth, and you're going to hear a lot about my background through the entire semester. I'm from Fresno, California. I'm from the California Central Valley. I grew up in a working poor, it used to be middle class, but it became working poor immigrant neighborhood. A transitioning neighborhood to that. I was one of my family was one of the poor families that moved into that neighborhood that brought down the property value. But I grew up right off the freeway in of the 99, not far from a place called Motel Drive. So you can kind of figure out what kind of area that is. It wasn't a heavy immigrant neighborhood, predominantly Mexican American, and then Hmong American. If you don't know the Hmong people, those are the mountain people of Vietnam. And it's a very important part of my life. And what I observed has made me who I am today, and what I went through and so forth. So that I think is one of the reasons why I have to tell you where I'm from. And I lived there for most of my life. I lived other places, other countries as well, but because of that, I have a background with working with farm workers, working with some of the poorest communities in California, and so forth. After I graduated from high school, I started college, but I actually went into the Marine Corps. Right there. There you go. There's one of my Marine Corps covers right there. I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years. Some of that was reserve time. Some of it was a job I can't talk about. The other job I had in there was I was a firefighter. Let's see. That stuff's up there. I'm not gonna take it out. But I was a firefighter in the Marine Corps, and so that was another important part of my life. When I was in the reserves there and I was going to college, and ever since I was a teenager, I worked in politics. And my first career was in politics. And I worked in the public library system while I did that. But when I talk about my past and my background in public speaking or in my political science side, it's professional background. So when I say I spoke in front of large crowds, I did that big events on television, on the radio, and so forth. So there's professional experience, not just academic. Let's see, what else do you need to know about me? I think that's it for now. You're going to hear more as we go along. Oh, my education. I graduated from Fresno State with a BA from political science. I got a master's degree in international relations from the University of Oklahoma. And then the other degree is a master's in communication studies from Cal State LA. So that's for my communication studies class, that and public speaking, that is why I'm able to teach this course. So yeah, so that's the education. And just FYI, when I first started college, I was not in a good place. In high school and my early years in college, I was never in a good place. And so, and then I was very successful in politics. And I actually just stopped going to school for a long time, and I went back to school to get my degree. So I'm a returning student as well. I know with dual enrollment classes that might not be important, but I just always let students know and so forth. And by the way, I always help students on future planning stuff with the pitfalls I went through and friends and the success stories as well. So that's available to you as well. Let's see, I think that's everything I think you should know. And by the way, if we ever have a shaky cam, there's a little seat over here that my dog sits on and she wiggles. So if it's shaky cam, I blame my dog. All right, I think that's it. By the way, I live in the East LA area. I moved here a couple years ago, so I live in East LA. That's where I reside. It reminds me a lot of home. So I feel very comfortable in East LA. So I think that's it. I think that's everything. All right, let's get started on the syllabus and so forth. Let's see, shared screen. So if you watch, well, you had to, but if you watch my earlier video about how I use Canvas, you know that important documents are found in files and you'll find the syllabus. Now, a reminder from the previous video, I'm using an old class syllabus, which is about the same except for a couple key areas, which I'll tell you. But I'm using that as an example. And the reason why is, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't have all your information about your school and your class yet. Hopefully we'll get that done day one. So your syllabus is not going to be posted until maybe Thursday at the soonest. I'm sorry, Thursday, Friday at the soonest, maybe over the weekend before Tuesday of next week. But we're going to cover everything right now. But I just want you to know I need information for this class before I could put, because the schedule's on there. So I got to make sure to get that information from the right folks. All right. So you click on any of this stuff and you're going to get the syllabus, the PDF and so forth. I have the PDF in front of me. I put it in Word because I want to give students the options if they want to copy and paste or just print it out or, put their information in and so forth. That's why it's in PDF and why it's in Word. So as you can see here, this is from a previous class. So disregard the spring 21 and the course and so forth. You're not in this is a generic video. It's made for a dual enrollment class, an outreach class, but disregard the stuff that's specific for the previous class. Everything else is just fine. Okay. This is public speaking. This video is shot for fall 21. My name's there, Professor Hyatt. The course information is different, so FYI. There's my email account. But the best way to contact me is through Canvas. So you have my email. I'm technically required to give you my email, but here's the problem. I'm an adjunct professor who can work multiple disciplines. And I have worked almost, I say majority of the different campuses with LA Community College District. So I get emails from everybody. I get emails, I still to this day, from a college I worked with like 2-3 years ago. So my emails get crazy, ridiculous busy, to my detriment, by the way. And I'm getting in there, and couple that with all the COVID stuff and everything that's going on right now. The best way to contact me is through Canvas. You can message me, and I showed you in the previous video. You go to inbox, you'll find me there. You go to people in Canvas, and you can find me there as well. The inbox, by the way, is the easiest way. Just typing in my name or using the directory. All right. Oh, excuse me. Again, I always record these at night. And office hours, when we have our Zoom meetings, after the Zoom meeting will be the best time for one-on-one. I can put you in breakout rooms. And then also arranging time. I have a Google Voice phone number. I can set up a Zoom meeting. I have a Zoom office hour meeting thing. I can send out links to it as well. And we can arrange time as well. So lots of ways to contact me and then have one-on-one sessions. Any questions you have on that stuff, message me in the chat. Okay, so the most important pages for this course is the first and the last page. The first page, the course description is the technical stuff. Other professors call it student learning outcomes. I prefer the term requirements. I'm old school, but this course description is there. That's just technical stuff. The stuff that you need to care about and why the first page is the most important is the material. One of the most important pages is the material requirements. We use a textbook in this class. The textbook I use is BB. Now, some of you might be going to textbook, especially dual enrollment with, you guys have books provided to you sometimes and so forth. I might change. I might be forced to have to do, if your school has a textbook already, I say no, use mine. It's better. It's more efficient. And so if we use it, it's like one of the easiest books to get, and it's dirt cheap. So if you want a physical copy, it's not that expensive. And by the way, I have no problem with students getting the old edition. All right. I have no problem with that. And then there's so many places that sell the online version that are like dirt cheap. We're talking like under 10 bucks. So, and most of those online versions. All right. So the 5th edition's real easy, real cheap to buy. Now, that being said, I am not allowed to say what I'm about to say. I can get in trouble, so don't snitch on me. But what I heard from students is there might be a PDF copy that you can find online. And it's a 4th edition, I believe, but the whole book is online for free in a PDF. That's what I heard from students. I'm not allowed to endorse it or tell you where. I heard that sometimes you just type in the title, a concise public speaking handbook, and then type in PDF after the title, and it takes you right there. It's to your detriment if you click on that, but that's what I heard. I can't confirm or tell you how to do it, but so easy book, real cheap, maybe free, can't say anything. So there you go. There's going to be videos assigned, and we covered that in the previous video. That's going to be in announcements or discussions. And every class schedule is going to be posted in announcements. Access to online account, which if you're watching this video, congratulations, you got number 3 required. 4x6 cards or your own version of a cue card. This is why we're using the older class instead of one of my other fall classes, because except for this class, every one of my fall classes are in person. So I needed to use this older syllabus from a previous semester, because when we were completely online, 4x6 cards or your own version of a cue card. So sometimes students, what they did was, 4x6 cards are the best way to do it. But what they did sometimes is have what you do on the cue cards, and they put it behind the camera when they gave the speeches. And we'll talk about how to make those later. But we don't write out our speeches in this class. You don't memorize your speeches in this class. So cue cards are the way to go. All right. The other reason why people like printing out page 1 is because of this part right here. It's like a little checklist that you can keep with you. I mean, the grading procedure is one thing, but this thing right here, putting your points in for your, see if you're going to see it in Canvas. But sometimes I always recommend the students to make a binder for their classes. And the reason why I always recommend doing that is because you have it easy access. You don't have to turn on your computer or your phone to get to it. And so you can just put in your grades right here as well, because your speeches are your outline, your evaluation, your speech all put together. So you can see how the points break down. I always use a 500 point system, FYI. All right. So any questions, message me in chat. And by the way, I can pause the videos if I get a lot of questions. All right. Let's talk about the assignments, and this is important. So I call them projects because they're broken down into 3 sections. The majority of the points, 100 points for these projects, is your speech. And you can see the 3 types of speeches right there. Special interest, informative, persuasive speech. We're going to cover the descriptions more later. You'll see it online in the assignments, but this is just a basic rundown, all right? And the actual speeches themselves, they're 75 points. You need to make sure you get to the right speech, you know, do your speech and so forth on time and stuff like that. Whew, again, I'm doing this at night. During the semester, you have to prepare a speech and do it in front of the class. We'll go over that more later, but there's 3 of them. And each of those speeches, a week before you do your speech or the speeches start, you need to turn in an outline. So speech are right here. Then there you have the outlines, and that's 15 points right there. You turn that in and you get easy 15 points. And by the way, the outline, and if you watch the other video, the outline is all ready for you to use, to take and use in Canvas. So it's really easy for you as students to just go in there and get the outline and put in your information, all right? The speech evaluation. Your speech evaluation is done on the day of the speeches, and you just listen to one of the other students speak and you just evaluate them. By the way, they don't see the evaluation. What the questions you have to do is already done for you in the prompt. So it's just 1 page. It's really easy 10 points. All right. Midterm and final, multiple choice test. There's 2, you know, the midterm and then the final. If you watch the other video pages, you know that everything covered for the midterm is only for the midterm, and everything that's covered after the midterm is only for the final. All right. So 50 points each. And then finally, the meat and potatoes of this class is the participation. This is a public speaking class. So you need to participate. And we are on Zoom. Some of the participation might be online where I just tell you have to answer questions, like putting your topics in will be participation points. But we are going to be live on Zoom, and participation points will be on Zoom where you have to talk on camera or so forth. All right. So that is participation, and that adds up. There's 100 points there. And I will tell you right now, one of the easiest ways to guarantee an A is make sure you participate in every participation. One of the easiest ways to get a grade that you should not get is not to do any kind of participation. By the way, not all participation is individual. There's group participation, like we'll have discussions. If enough people participate, the whole class gets points. All right. Any questions? Go ahead and message me. Now, by the way, on this one, it says 2 are worth more. I canceled that. They're all 5 points. They're all 5 points. Extra credit, those you saw in discussions, those will be posted as we go along. All right. Here's the boring parts. What we need to know about classroom and so forth. Now, attendance is a little bit different. Your dual enrollment outreach courses, it's a little bit different because the attendance is part of the requirement for whatever school you are in. Again, I don't know your school information yet until we meet. So I'm a little bit, I don't know. And all that stuff is done through the counselors and things like that. So we're going to keep, we're going to talk about that in a bit, but in the college classes, I honestly, if you're in a normal college class, I really don't think professors need to care about attendance, because in a college class, you're adults and you need to do your job. And the way I get my students to come in to my classes is have stuff that they need to hear for them to get a good grade. And so that's the way I everything I do in this class is in your self-interest to do what needs to be done. I don't give you greater good arguments. I don't tell you it's the right thing to do. And showing up is, and I don't like the idea of you being in a college class and still being treated like you're in public school. So in dual enrollment, it's a little bit different because of the requirements of dual enrollment and outreach classes. But at the same time, you have to understand my philosophy. The way this class is constructed is you need to attend, because if you miss classes, you're going to miss stuff that it's needed for your speech. All right. Any questions on that? Again, I don't know the information about your school. So about drops and everything, when dual enrollment and outreach are usually done through counselors. If you're in my college courses, what would happen is if you missed the first 2 days, you're automatically dropped, and then there's a last minute possibility of dropping. But I always tell my students, any college class you take now or in the future, don't rely on your professor to drop you. You need to do the drop yourself to be on the safe side. All right, assignment policy. Assignment policy. Assignments are going to be assigned to you. You need to do it. Your assignments are going to be available for you to earn points like in participation, or they're going to be due dates and so forth. Make sure you turn that stuff in. Late assignments, especially if it's much later and so forth, especially if it's unexcused, you can lose points, especially on speeches and so forth. And because I have to be fair to everybody. So you need to make sure you do that. In there, it talks about making up assignments in case of absence and so forth. Here's the deal. If it's a major thing like a speech or a midterm or a final, outlines a little bit more flexible, evaluations a little bit more flexible. But the big stuff, you need to have an excused absence. If you want to make sure you can get it turned in and you don't lose points. You will lose points on the big stuff if you don't have an excuse for missing the class. And I mean necessarily. Now I'm about to say something, especially with COVID, might get people upset. But I really do think I need to say this. There's certain times of the year around midterms and finals and important dates that family members tend to get more sick than usual. As professors and high school teachers as well, they know the different kinds of excuses. So if you come to me and you don't have proof and you say, oh, my grandmother fell ill, which grandmother? Because there's a running joke with high school teachers, like, oh, I think so-and-so is on their 5th grandmother. So, make sure that you have proof. And by the way, I'm very flexible and I work with tons of students. Like someone got sick and they had their hospital bracelet. They took a picture of that. They went to a service and they took a picture of the program. A funeral and they took a picture of the program. I'm very flexible and I've used all types of proof as a way to get an excuse absence. So don't think I'm being mean here. By the way, it says pop quizzes there. If you don't participate, we're going to convert the class into pop quizzes, and you don't want to do that. Participate. All right. We need people to participate. If no one in the class participates, I have to do pop quizzes. I hate pop quizzes. Pop quizzes are the worst. So no pop quizzes. Participate. Any questions on that stuff? No? Okay. Well, again, this is a recording. The social contract. Here's the social contract. Don't be a jerk. That's what I think. There's an inclusion speech that I give every semester. When we hit that part, I'm going to give it. But here's the thing. You need to be inclusive in your language and how you treat others in the class with respect and so forth. Not because it is the right thing to do and it's for the greater good. That's true, but I don't give you that argument. The reason why you need to be respectful to others and be inclusive is because the fact of the matter is you're going to find out that you're going to get more people to favor what your interests are that way. It's in your self-interest. So if you're giving a speech, you use inclusive language, you're going to get a wider audience to accept what you're saying. That's why you do it for your sake. And especially in this global war, the more you're able to adapt and be inclusive, the more likely you're going to be able to adapt to the workplace. All right. So we're going to have diverse experience and culture, be supportive and safe and so forth. We're going to have discussions. Don't be a jerk. Don't be rude and so forth. And same thing with your behavior in class. By the way, you're not allowed, FYI, you're not allowed to record anybody on phone or take pictures without permission, including your professor. Make sure we're going to go over the insensitive topics, so forth. Let's talk real quick about cell phones. And I especially love saying this to high school students because I actually said this a week ago in front of a high school class, and the teacher was there when I said it, and the teacher spent like 5 minutes trying to muddle what I said. So sometimes students are surprised by the way I talk to them. Here's the thing about cell phones. I never understood why anybody would be that disrespectful by using a cell phone in front of somebody who's in charge of your grade. I never understood that. That's the way I think people should tell students, by the way. Now, if you go and use your cell phone all the time on your job, you're going to get fired. All right. And the same thing with if you're on your cell phone all the time while the professor or the teacher is talking, don't expect that teacher to turn around and when you ask a favor and say, oh, okay. Oh, hey, I'm at an 89. Can you bump it up to an A? You mean you who every time I talk, you're on your cell phone and being disrespectful? No. You need to be aware that your behavior is seen by folks who you just gotta be smart about this stuff. All right. Do not exit and intern exit the classroom when speech. That anytime a student is speaking, a student speech, yes, you're gonna be as respectful as possible. As for me, if we were in person, especially with COVID, I tell students you're more than welcome to get out and take a breather. And the same thing here in this class. Is even on Zoom. If you need to take a break, keep it on or so forth. You have to log off and log back in. I have no problem with that as well. But be aware that during student speeches, you're not going to do anything that is disrespectful. Any questions on this stuff? Message me in chat. Academic honesty. Don't plagiarize. Don't plagiarize. Don't plagiarize. Don't steal other people's stuff and try to beat it yourself. It's the example I always give about high school teachers. High school teachers know what the difference between the movies that are out there and the book you're supposed to read. I have for my American government class, I assign the book World War Z, and the book is so much different than the movie. And yet every semester there's always one student who obviously only watched the movie, right? So same thing with taking other people's work. We can figure that out. We have computer programs that figure that out. And even if not, it's actually very easy to catch plagiarism. It's very easy. And I always give this example of this one student I know of. This person is an international student, came from a different country to get a master's degree here in California. Went through the whole master's degree program, paid that money. Again, they pay more if they're not from the state, and especially from a different country. They pay more than California residents. And that student went through the whole program. And at the very end of the master's program, you have to take a comp, or you have to do a paper, 10-page paper or something. It's been a while. I haven't done it. But that student got caught with plagiarism on the very last thing and got sent home with spending all that money and time here in the States with no degree. It's not worth it. Plagiarism is not worth it. And it's easy to catch. And you might get away with it once or twice, but the more you do it, the sloppier you get, and it's easier to catch. And what's worse about plagiarism, especially in the colleges, is that when you finally get caught, it's going to be in a spot that you don't want to get caught. If you get caught, you want to be, the first attempt. Maybe you can get out of it. that way. But usually plagiarism, when people get caught, it's a couple of years in and it's bad. All right, it's not worth it. Any questions? Message me in chat. Students with special needs. I have a disability. It's not severe or anything. I don't have the ability to smell. And by the way, it's not COVID related. I lost my ability to smell over 10 years ago in an accident. And so I have accommodations. This dog that lives with me over here, she's looking at me right now. That dog, anywhere I rent from or buy from, if I buy a home but more likely rent, that person I rent from has to let the dog in no matter what, because that dog is ADA because of my inability to smell. And I know that that's not the same with special student with special needs, but as somebody who has dealt with that personally and who has years upon years of experience working with students with special needs at all different levels, everything from learning disabilities to physical or mental, or so forth disabilities, to other physical, all different kinds of learning, physical, whatever disability, mental health, so forth, anxiety, high anxiety. If you were high anxiety on speeches, you got the right person, right? I'm here for you. Now, that being said, if you're a student with special needs, there's an office that you're supposed to register to. With dual enrollment, you talk to your counselor and they send me the message. But don't ever rely on those folks. Don't rely on the office if you're at a college, or don't rely on your counselor to contact me. What you need to do is, office meeting, off to the side, talk to me and accommodate and work with you and so forth. All right. Method of instructions, I just told you all the different things. Now, here's the thing. Here's the schedule. I really should not be showing you this. This is on the last page. This is from a previous class, so I'm not going to show it to you. But when I find out the information for your school, that will be on the syllabus, and that you need to print that out because it tells you what's ahead and so forth. Any questions on the syllabus or anything I covered today? All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video and just be aware of that you can always come back to this video and double check on things as well. And make sure you ask me questions. All right. Have a good one.